Bottom of the Barrel podcast. We are back. You here with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Jermaine. I'm flying solo on this very special episode of Bottom of the Barrel podcast. I like to entitle it Jermaine's Corner. Matt is pretty busy right now, so gonna do a few things on my own. You know, we're not breaking up the band or anything. We're still the coolest cats in town, and we're sticking together. You know, we're like Matt's favorite band, U2. You know, they've been together since the 80s, and they've never broken up, so, you know, why can't we do the same? We're cool like that, folks. On this special episode of Bottom of the Barrel, Jermaine's Corner, Matt and I last left off talking about some of the things going, you know, with TV, like finales and stuff, but I wanted to get into some of the newer shows and the things that are going on currently in the sitcom world, you know, mainly because I like comedy. And granted, a lot of sitcoms are considered comedies, but they don't make you laugh, like Two Broke Girls, which is, you know, I can't hate on it because the ratings are through the roof, but the show's not funny. Doesn't really sit with me, but I respect it for the fact that it has been an out of the box hit. You know, we already know, like, the biggest sitcom on TV right now is The Big Bang Theory, which is amazing. It's a hilarious show. The thing that pretty much I think is kind of weird is that as successful as the show is, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, that Ashton Kutcher on 2.5 Men makes more than the top 3 actors combined on The Big Bang Theory, which is insane considering that 2.5 Men has tanked since firing Charlie Sheen and bringing on Ashton Kutcher. They saw their ratings skyrocket. The first, you know, couple episodes when they brought on Ashton Kutcher, but that was based on people wanting to see what the show was going to be like without Charlie Sheen, and you saw quickly people realize that it sucks. They could thank Charlie Sheen for those high ratings in the beginning, because, you know, it's just people wanted it to. There was a lot of backlash for what Charlie did, and it didn't sit well with people. For me, it didn't bother me because I like Charlie, and I like the fact that, you know, he does his own thing, and, you know, screw 2.5 Men. It's an awful show without Charlie Sheen, and you're seeing it right now. It went from being the highest rated sitcom, CBS's main dog, to basically bringing up the rear on its Thursday night comedy block. It's been replaced a couple of times with reruns of Big Bang Theory. So I think that says it all right there, that it is slowly losing its steam and pretty much gone. Let's see. New shows. One of the things that I noticed recently was that some struggling shows, like, say, Sean Saves the World with Sean Hayes from Will and Grace fame, has, since he initially out of the box, his show didn't really do well. But since he went on his tirade against NBC and telling people that it's the smartest, most original comedy on TV, and saying NBC is not marketing it right, all of a sudden the ratings went up. They got ordered additional scripts. So maybe, just maybe, they may have hit on something, or maybe it was just the publicity got people to try to take a look at it. And we'll see the week after if things kind of stay pretty high for the show. I saw an article where they talked about Michael J. Fox's show may possibly get canceled, which I think is kind of sad because I like Michael J. Fox, and I think his show's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. And I know that's like, hey, can you not be on the fence? But I think it has potential, being that it's in its first season and only a few episodes old. That it's got the people aren't up, the cast aren't up to its level, but I think there's potential there. I think the drawbacks are the guy that plays the oldest son stinks, and the one that plays the younger son, I think, just is annoying. They're just there to be there, but yeah, I think the potential is there. I think it could be something. Nothing, not to the level we expect of shows that he's been on, say like Family Ties or Spin City, but it could be decent for NBC. So I would be sad if they gave up on it in one season. I think it would be a big mistake. Other shows, let's see, other new shows. The show Mom is a huge disappointment. Consider it's a Chuck Lorre show, and his shows generally are hits. Because he's got 2.5 Men, which stinks now. Big Bang Theory, Mike and Molly. Those are two huge hits, and you expected a little bit more out of them. Maybe it'll hit a stride. It looks like it's been renewed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's got Anna Faris and I can't think of Allison Janney, who plays her mom. I think are decent, but it just seems like the writing is awful, and I don't know. I just don't see it getting better. But who knows? What else? The show The Millers is disappointing because it has good people. It has a decent cast, but I think the writing, I feel like Will Arnett and J.B. Smoove, who are two guys that I like a lot, are forcing themselves to try to be funny with a very unfunny script. But I think ratings wise, it's doing well enough to be okay. Let's see. Sorry about the pause here. I'm trying to think of some other shows that are new. The Goldbergs. I kind of like it. It's not great, but it's entertaining. The thing is, again, it's got a pretty solid cast. It's an interesting thing. It takes place in the 80s, which there's a whole nostalgia thing going on there. And you got Patton Oswalt doing the voiceover. Yeah, I definitely see potential there, but the ratings have started to slip, so you never know what could happen there. I'd be shocked if it didn't get a second season pickup, but there's always the possibility because we know how this thing works. What else? Let's see. The show's like Dads and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I can't even force myself to watch it because their previews just look awful. I know Matt's watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I don't know that he was necessarily blown away by it. We'll have to ask his opinion on that once he comes back. Let's see. I know there was another one that I've seen recently and checked out. I checked out. I've been checking out Trophy Wife. It's not bad, but it's not necessarily funny. It's got good people in it, I think, but it's kind of basically, been there, done that kind of story where it's not really new or even that interesting. So, that's one of the ones that can go either way. Maybe it gets picked up, maybe not. It seemed to be gaining some steam lately, so you can never ever tell. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else that's new or jumping out at me that's worth talking about right now. And I know, sorry folks, maybe it'll probably be, if this is, you don't find this one as interesting as our normal podcast, you missed the banter between Matt and myself, and or me basically owning Matt because Matt just sucks. Just kidding. He's a good guy. He does what he can. He brings it. He's got the energy. He's got good jokes. Yeah, that's about all I got, folks. But what else do we want to get into tonight? I guess I wanted to talk about some movies that are underrated, and particularly movies that has one actor who I think is pretty solid. It's been in some good movies that I've seen recently. It's Paul Dano, and just want to name some movies of his that are pretty underrated, and I think you should check out. Let's see. Bear with me. One of the movies I think a lot of people have seen. I know a lot of people I know have seen it and are crazy about it. I'm not as crazy about this movie as most people, but I think it's pretty solid. It's Little Miss Sunshine. He was in There Will Be Blood, but I haven't seen it yet. But everyone has loved it. It got a lot of critical acclaim. Don't quote me. I think Daniel Day-Lewis won the Oscar for that movie, which he wins it for everything. But another one of the movies that he's in that I think is underrated is a movie called Gigantic, with him, Paul Dano, and Zooey Deschanel. Where Paul Dano is a guy who wants to adopt a kid. He's single, and meets a very beautiful but strange young lady in Zooey Deschanel. And it's an interesting little story. I think it's an independent movie, and you would definitely like it. He's in another movie called Meek's Cut Off, which is kind of an arty type film. But I guess you couldn't call it an art film because it has stars in it. Ha ha ha. Well, star at the time. Michelle Williams is in it. She's been nominated for a couple of Academy Awards. Paul Dano's in it. His girlfriend, Zoe Kazan, is in it, and it's kind of a western, which I don't particularly like those, but it's a cool little story. They're basically, doing the whole wagon train, searching for the next town. It's one of those, journey movies. They come across a Native American, and then, things kind of get out of hand from there. So, I think it's a nice little movie that you should probably check out. It's very underrated. Again, following in underrated movies that Paul Dano is in, there's another movie called Being Flynn, which is a story about Nick Flynn, the writer. My favorite actor, Robert De Niro, is in it as well. It's got some decent people. Julianne Moore is in it. Lily Taylor is in it. Matt and I are the big Lily Taylor fans. And if I'm not mistaken, Lily Taylor was married to Nick Flynn, so maybe one of the reasons why she's in the movie. Besides the fact that she's a solid actress. He is also in the movie Looper that Matt and I checked out with Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Time travel movie there. That's pretty cool. He's also in the movie Ruby Sparks with his girlfriend Zoe Kazan, who wrote the movie, if I'm not mistaken, wrote the screenplay. And basically, again, he's a writer. Meets this young lady who he thought he imagined, and then turns out that she's real, and turns out she's real through his imagination, which is kind of bizarre and interesting type of film. It's one, I don't want to give too much away because I think I would ruin it by telling you more, but I think you should check it out. It's surprisingly good. And I think that's all that I have there because I feel like I'm rambling, which is what I do from time to time, but it's what I do. It's what makes me the superstar that I am. It's how Matt and I are able to bring you this fantastic podcast, because we're kind of like, if you listen to this intro of this episode of Bottom of the Barrel, Jermaine's Corner, featuring Jermaine, that was an intro from the New Age Outlaws, one of my favorite wrestlers from back in the day, the Road Dogg at Jesse James, which I kind of envision myself, I kind of see myself as that. And Matt and I are kind of like the New Age Outlaws because, I'm kind of charismatic like the Road Dogg, and Matt's kind of like Mr. Ass because he's an asshole. Just kidding, folks. That's what we do. I'm just doing what friends normally do when their other friends aren't around. Talk shit about them. But nothing that I would say on this podcast without Matt isn't. It's all stuff that I would say to his face because I'm just that kind of guy. People love me. What can I say? And Matt's just there. I would say we're like Batman and Robin, but I hate Batman. I don't hate Batman. I like the Batman movies with Christian Bale, but as a whole, I find Batman annoying. I'm kind of like Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm not like Peter Parker or anything. I just think Spider-Man is kind of cool. And I envision myself being cool because I am cool. And I know it by looking in the mirror. And Matt's kind of like Robin. Because Robin's corny. And Matt's corny. And if he was here, he'd be like, "Hey, Lorraine, why you gotta be like that? That's uncool. Or hey, yeah, I like you too. Watch Breaking Bad, and I like the Dallas Cowboys." That's a horrible impression, but I think you get the point. It's all in good fun. I hope Matt doesn't listen to this and be like, "What the hell?" Because he does say "what the hell." So I hope he's "What the hell, man?" And think, this is me taking him down, but it's not what I do. Just, trying to love things. So it's kind of hard doing this thing on your own. Not used to doing a solo podcast. So it's a little weird. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. I wanted to get back to some TV stuff and talk about certain, Matt and I are big comedy fans, and one of the things that I would like to see networks do is give more shots to stand-up comedians and have their own sitcoms and let them come up with the idea of how they want it to go. Because when comedians have the right amount of control, look at the genius that we get. Seinfeld with Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry was a stand-up for a little while, but I mean, again, it's a hilarious show. Look at Louis C.K. show. You let stand-ups do the thing, you get some pretty cool stuff. So I would like to see. I would love for Dave Chappelle to get another chance, but I don't think any networks gonna want to work with Davey after what happened last time. So that's gonna make him, too much of a risk for networks. But I would like to see Bill Burr get a show because I think Burr is hilarious, and he can do some cool things. Trying to think of some other stand-ups right now that should have their own show. I gotta admit, I got nothing right now. And those, I think Chappelle and Bill Burr would be my top two. I mean, I know Chappelle's not gonna get it, but it's still wishful thinking. Saw something recently about TV actors that you didn't realize were secretly jerks. And the thing that stood out to me was two people that were on the list were John Krasinski and I'm drawing a blank. See, this is why I need Matt here. The lady who plays his wife, Pam, Jenna Fisher. Sorry, folks. They were on a list, which I was like, wow. Based on their personalities on the show, again, we can't make anything from that. But apparently, they're not pleasant to be around on the set, which I thought was kind of shocking. But you never know. You never know how that goes. But another one that I also found out was Sarah Michelle Gellar. Apparently, she's, it's just like Krasinski and Fisher, who I like a lot. Sarah Michelle Gellar is one of my favorites, and to hear that she's kind of a pain to work with is disappointing. Apparently, when she was on Buffy, she was so painful to work with that, and I'm drawing a blank on the actress that's on How I Met Your Mother, who was on Buffy, has said that she would never work with her ever again, which I wasn't supposed to be freaking bad. We're going to pause for the calls and be right back. Hold on for a second, folks. Okay, sorry about that. Where were we? Basically talking about celebrities that are difficult, basically on TV. And most of the ones you pretty much knew, like Katherine Heigl, Shannon Doherty, Terry Hatcher. Let's see. Chevy Chase. Shocking. Those are ones you expect, but I thought it was interesting with those three: Jenna Fisher, John Krasinski, and Sarah Michelle Gellar were ones I didn't expect. Apparently, everyone's sweetheart Leah Michele from Glee is kind of a pain in the butt. Which is, it's kind of interesting in its own right, because I think, like, what will she do after Glee? But, hey, that's just me. I'm not a fan of Glee, so I guess you guys would call me a hater, and I'm okay with that, because it is what it is, but I'm just being honest. Probably gonna wrap this thing up. Let's see. Matt and I will probably be back soon. Just want to give you a little something else to chew on for a little while. Probably be back doing our thing. Hopefully things will slow down for Matt and he'll have some time. He's big time on us folks. He can't big time you bottom feeders. While he's big timing you, your boy will be here giving you little segments and updates and little things that's going on in his mind at Jermaine's corner of the bottom of the barrel. Hope you guys are doing well. I want to say good night, and I am out of here. Peace.